What was your I was only gone X minutes. What the hell happened? Story. One night I was on my own and decided to make a nice meal for myself. I spent about half an hour preparing and baking a delicious chicken breast with sun-dried tomatoes and brie cheese. So I got everything ready, set up my dinner and my beer on the coffee table, and sat down to eat and watch some TV. At this point my cat waltzed in and sat on the couch next to me. Then he dropped something out of his mouth next to me. I turned to look at it. It was a snake. Shit. Okay, no big deal. It's not a big one. So I got up and grabbed some snake wrangling tools, a dustbin and brush, and scooped this little guy up. I walked out the front door and tossed the snake back into the bushes, hoping the cat won't go after it again. I was gone for about 15 seconds. I came back inside and my dinner was gone. The cat was under the table, hunched over a half-eaten chicken breast and growling every time I came near. And that's the first time my cat distracted me with a snake in order to steal my dinner. I left my 2-year-old twins for 2 minutes. They were happily glued to the TV, and I thought it was the perfect opportunity to sneak to the kitchen and finish making my coffee. They continued being quiet, and I found it strange as they normally come and follow me when I leave the room. I came back and there was soil scattered all over my carpet. One was feeding the other a plant. First baby. Wife has never left a little girl, but decides to run an errand leaving me dad alone with her. I assure wife all will be well in her short absence. Kid is sleeping in my arms. All is quiet. Give wife a kiss, and she heads out the door. Walk back to sofa with sleeping kid. Notice kid could use a diaper change. Set baby on changing table. I take off old diaper. Baby wakes up. Proceeds to erupt with a volcano of projectile diarrhea. It's all over me. Changing table. Wall. I panic. Pick up baby still hemorrhaging an unending spray of baby turd mist. Take her to the kitchen sink and flip on water. Water is cold. Set baby in sink. Baby screams like a demon. Wife opens the door. Forgot her purse. Sheet all over the walls and floor. Desperate sheet covered husband wrestling with desperate freezing sheet covered baby. Wife was gone maybe 90 seconds. Maximum. First day of summer break after grade 7 I went to a skate park with a few friends and one of their dads drove us all. He went to get a coffee and said, "Don't break anything until I get back," and I did not list. I went down a quarter pipe and broke both my radius and ulnar on my first try. He got back and I was sitting on a bench holding my crooked arm. Edit. Had a 4-day weekend and came back to a million replies. My mother did not help me. I learned to use all lefty. When my daughter was around 3.5, I picked her up from daycare on my way home from work, walked in the door and set her down in the living room to play, while I put the mail I had grabbed on the way into the house on the table in the kitchen, which was less than 10 feet away. I drop the mail on the kitchen table, turn around and walk back into the living room and she's butt naked. It was literally less than 5 seconds. I'm still amazed when I think about it. I can't even get my shoes off that fast. I was boiling water on an electric stove top. Seemed safe enough. Left for 30 seconds. Came back. Entire stove was on fire with 2-foot flames. Someone had let some oily food fall between the burner and the tinfoil we keep underneath. Another 30 seconds and the kitchen would have caught fire. I live above the pizza place that I work at. I'm also full-time in college. Last night they called me in just for an hour or two to help close. No big deal. After a full school day and going into work for a bit I was exhausted. I walked up the stairs and into my apartment. There was new decorations everywhere. My furniture was gone and my bedroom door was up. I screamed holy fuck and kicked open the door to see who was in my room. I was only gone for an hour. How could someone move in and move out all my shit? As I made contact with the girl laying in bed watching Netflix, I realized I was on the 2nd floor, not the 3rd floor. The apartment below me has the exact same layout as mine, and this girl happened to have her door unlocked like I usually leave mine. Multiple roommates. I simply said oops, wrong room, and ran back to my room. I'm going to go down today and apologize for scaring that poor girl half to death at 11 PM. I was asleep and woke up to the sound of my husband shouting frustratedly at his son, who was 16 at the time. "You've just waded through knee-deep water, out through your bedroom, and down the hallway. You tell me, mate, why do you think the wife I isn't ducking working?" I smiled for a second before I realized that, oh shit, our little bungalow has flooded. Nipped upstairs for a piss. Was gone no more than 2 minutes. Came back down to find my daughter had shat on the living room floor and was gleefully stomping it into the carpet. "It's a muddy puddle, daddy." I was working on my senior chemistry project in college. Brought samples down to the Wikipedia org/wiki/nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy room for analysis. Forgot something upstairs, ran up to grab it, came back down, and found a metal folding chair stuck to the instrument. An NMR is similar to an MRI machine, in that it is a gigantic sensitive magnet that metal should never be near. In this time I went upstairs. Another student thought she had left a sample probe in the instrument, cold and eject the probe, and brought the chair over to look down into the instrument to find it. Chair got stuck to the instrument, and she had to find my professor to remove it. Luckily the magnet did not quench upon chair removal. If the magnet quenched, she would have very little time to get the duck out of the room before asphyxiating on the nitrogen and helium. My grad school had a very nice NMR which was cooled by liquid helium and liquid nitrogen. One day I walked into the room and saw the air was wavy over the instrument and got a bit lightheaded, and thankfully the head of the instrument core saw what was happening and had the presence of mind to pull me out of the room quickly. My ex drank too much white wine one night. After we got back to my apartment, I quickly went down the street to grab him some Gatorade or whatever. I was gone maybe 10 minutes, tops. My brother calls me up, we lived together at the time, while I'm walking back and angrily tells me, "You need to get back here now." No details about what's wrong or anything. So I walk into the door of our apartment to find my ex passed out, completely naked. He had clothes on when I left. On the floor between our bathroom and kitchen. My brother pointed ominously toward the bathroom. In the 10 or so minutes I was gone, my ex had somehow managed to smear sheet all over himself and every surface in my bathroom. We're talking everywhere. The sink, the shower curtain, the back of the door, the walls, the toilet, even his hair and face. All covered in sheety handprints. It took me the rest of the night to bleach the hell out of everything. I've never seen anything like it in my whole life, and it haunts me to this day. The next day, my brother and one of his friends taped newspaper all over the walls and floor in the bathroom, because clearly my ex wasn't housebroke. Stupid ex was offended. It was hilarious. A little over a year ago, my now husband and I were prepping for a move and needed to take a handful of garbage bags to the dumpster in our apartment community. We patted each of our dogs, a 7-year-old mini schnauzer and a 16-year-old rat terrier, 2 small dogs. This is very important later on the head, and headed out. Less than 5 minutes later we come back, both of the dogs meeting us at the door with wagging tails and big smiles. All seems perfect until we round the corner into the dining room. One of the dogs shat clear up 2 walls, about 4.5 feet up across about 6 feet wide worth of wall. I was laughing too hard to clean it up. The husband saved the day and cleaned it up. But with such force and distance, we can only imagine the absolutely gut-wrenching noise that dog's still not sure which one had to have made when it did its big business. We were seriously only gone 5 minutes. We now refer to it as the poopening of 2015. Left the mail room to go get my wipes to clean off the scanner glass. Was gone 3 minutes. Came back to find the entire mail room coated in toner and a toner covered co-worker just standing there looking confused and alarmed. Never even asked, just went to get our boss to go deal with it. Edit. Thanks for the goldo. Oh, double edit. Gold is on a comment down the chain. Fell asleep on the couch for like 10 minutes, I swear. Woke up to mayhem. 2 toddlers had scribbled all over the walls. The younger one had begun scribbling with crayon, and the older one, 3, became upset he was breaking the rules. So she grabbed a pencil and began marking gigantic X's as large as she could make. "You cannot draw here or here or here." I woke up to the entire first floor covered in pencil X's and crayon scribbles everywhere. Not gone Peresi, but asleep. I was flying lax SFO. My flight was delayed about 5 hours, so I did what any sensible frequent traveler does. I went to the club lounge and drank as much free bourbon as they would allow. We finally boarded the plane. I was in one of the first groups, because again I fly ALIT. So, by the time we take off I'm fast asleep. The captain comes on the intercom and says don't panic, seatbelts on etc. Drunkenly I look out the window to see some smoke, and holy shit there's smoke in the cabin. The lady next to me explains we have only been in the air 10 minutes and are about to make an emergency landing in Santa Barbara. I wasn't technically gone. I turned my head for literally a 3 to 5 count. I was at the pool with my daughter. Stu doesn't care how to swim, but this is a graded pool where the depth slowly inclines up to a shore-like edge. She was jumping up and down splashing in the puddles, and I was sitting about 10 feet away watching her while talking to a friend. I was watching her and talking when he said something funny and I turned to give him a look. I looked back and my daughter, in a matter of a few seconds, had taken a few steps to deeper water about 2 feet and was under the water, silently rolling around. I never cleared 10 feet so fast in my life. I scooped her up and set her on her feet. It was shallow enough to stand. I'm guessing she just lost her footing and couldn't right herself and panicked. No coughing up water, barely a sputter, she was fine. But man, when they say it can happen in seconds they aren't kidding. Whoever they are. I was barely fazed by it too. We continued our day like normal. My friend said, I know you're okay now, but it's gonna hit you later. If you need to talk, call me. He was right. That night I replayed events in my head and kept thinking. I looked away for a second. What the hell happened? I just couldn't get the image of her flailing so silently in the water out of my head. No one else noticed her. What if I hadn't? I cried pretty hard at the idea of losing her to such a tragic accident, and vowed to be much more vigilant at the pool or any other body of water. I also got her a life jacket that she hates wearing. The end. Back in grade 11, I had my friend and his friend come over to hang out on a night that my parents went home. The worst part was that we weren't drinking. We were all playing Mario Party. I got up and went to the bathroom for literally 30 seconds. I come back and they are completely naked and ducking on my bed. I actually have that moment to my friends. I was outside at a house party and needed to pee. There was someone in the bathroom, so I told my friends I was going to go around to the side of the house to pee where no one could see. A few minutes later, I came back all bloody and dirty and they freaked out. What I didn't know was there was a steep ditch right next to the house. Being a female, if I pee outside, I try to support myself by doing a sort of wall sit so I don't wind up peeing on my legs or clothes. So I pulled my pants down and tried to do the wall sit on the side of the house. I was crazy drunk, so I lost my balance due to the incline of the ditch, scraped myself up on the brick wall trying to catch myself, and tumbled pants down in the ditch. I pulled myself up, went back to my friends and said, I think it's time for me to go home.
End.
Years back I had a little thing celebrating my new apartment. Just a few close friends and a couple of not so close friends. We were having a good time. Drinks were being had, and eventually the need for greasy takeout food was too strong to ignore. Everyone was pretty marinated, some more than others, but driving was out of the question. Me and my bro take every own's orders, and we stroll to the taco place around the corner. When we return, most everyone is on the porch having smokes. Everything seemed normal. When I walk into the apartment, there he is. We'll call him Waldo, passed out on my couch, vomit running down the side of his face, vomit dripping down my new couch, vomit on my brand new rug. Apparently, when we left they started chigging whiskey, which obviously didn't agree with old Waldo. I only went for tacos.